Hey, Tyler. Happy Monday.
Yeah, welcome, welcome. We're back.
I know we're a little off our schedule, but you know, just building software. This takes time. Got to fit our stream in from there. So we haven't talked in a little bit, but today should be a goodie, I think, just to kind of talk about some of the new stuff that we're planning on for the next release of DSIP. So
Yeah,
anything,
we got a lot
yeah.
coming up, man.
Yeah, I like your shirt, by the way. I'm a fan of is that Scrinch and
It's
what is it?
Lilo and
Lilo.
Stitch. Yeah,
Yeah, Lilo and Stinch. Yes. Um, I think that I can't wait to like they need a new movie to come out. I haven't seen a movie from them in a while.
they had the second one, which is actually what Stitch's girlfriend is from, and I don't even remember what her name was, to be honest.
um, that's funny. Yeah. So sorry, I got sidetracked for a second. So okay, so what I want to do today is talk through like last time we talked about like active and our push to move that forward. I got some feedback from a few customers. Today we're going to talk about like the whole concept of having a central DID management capability, which is something I remember being at Chameleon World in the very beginning. And somebody was like, well, what about DID management? And I really didn't pay them much attention to it because I was like, oh, this ain't that big of an issue. But I think now 7 years going to 8 years in, I think we realized that, people have multiple carriers and it's a pain to kind of like keep all that straight. Like if you have a new customer, you have to go to your carrier, grab a phone number, put it in the DSIP, set up the routing. So I think we're just trying to
Mhm.
make it simpler. Is the crux of it.
Yeah, I think
So
that's a
well,
piece of it. I want to hit on a couple things as well.
yeah, sure.
And people are really going to jive with some of these things. Maybe smaller carriers don't really realize the things that you got to deal with yet. But when you're getting new numbers, you can't just hand them to a customer. You have to have KYC nowadays, right? You have all this stir shaken. You got to have know your customer. You got to make sure that when you give them this number and they're using it under your name, they're not using it for nefarious purposes, spam and all that. So it's become more important over time to have all these pieces together. And that's, what Mac is hitting on here is that like being able to pull them from your carriers, have that related to your customers, and then, for your customer and you have that relationship established, that KYC, make sure that all those pieces are in place.
Absolutely. And that's the one piece that I think Tyler's been spending a lot on is the KYC aspect of it. And that's another aspect that we need to figure out like, okay, what part does DSIP play in that um arena? Because I think like it's gonna be some part for sure. We just gotta figure out the right part for us to play.
Mm-hmm.
Um with that being said, let's just jump into central DID management here. So what you're seeing on the screen is DSIP here. What you have in these boxes here is the different aspects of DSIP: endpoint groups, carrier groups, inbound routes, outbound routes, domains, and something that we'll be adding here is called number management. And number management will basically be a component that will have a plugin architecture that will have the ability of talking to different carriers. Like right now, the first carrier that is going to support is FlowRoute. We're trying to figure out what should be the next carriers who we support, and we'll have a plugin API and all that stuff so that people can add to it as well. But the crux here is that these plugins will support a new API that will have that's going to be the numbers API. So you'll be able to search across all of your carriers using numbers hyphen available. And those will look for any numbers that are available on your account that aren't being used. And then there's also going to be, so there's two parts to that. One, not being used, because like for us, we like for the stuff that we do internally, we have a set of DIDs that we purchase ahead of time, and some of those DIDs aren't being used. So, typically a carrier wants to use the DIDs that they already have purchased before they actually go off and look for new ones. So the available endpoint will have the ability with parameters to specify, give me the list of APIs that are that's already purchased and are available, and also look across the carriers and say, based on some parameters like the exchange or some search criteria, and say, all right, give me all the phone numbers in a particular area code or something like that. And it'll bring back a list, and then you can serve that list up to users. Once they pick a number that they want, and they can use the number purchase endpoint to actually purchase the number. And then we'll also have ones for being able to set the E991 and also to set the C name. And that, again, will go across each one of the carriers. And it really depends. We know, for instance, FlowRoute has APIs to support setting up for buying a new number, E911, and C name. And so long as the other carriers, which I think majority of them do, has APIs like that as well, we'll be able to, route those requests to the carrier so they can do that as well. So that is really the crux of what we're going to be delivering with the carrier integration. It's going to look something like this. So I'm going to just kind of show what I have here. So this is FlowRoute. And so we have a few different test numbers here. You'll notice that right now, this is the one number that doesn't have an alias. So in FlowRoute, the way we know if a number is being used or not is if it has an alias or not assigned to it. If it does not have an alias assigned to it, then it's not being used. So if I go over to dSIP here and I share that tab and I refresh my screen here, inbound routes, and I can show you as well, but inside of settings.py inside of dSIP, you can enable the FlowRoute integration by just putting in the API key and secret. But once that's set up and you go over here, you'll notice that there'll be a drop down box here, and you'll see this is the number that's that's available. And you can actually just pick that number, route it to an endpoint group. So now you don't have to go over to FlowRoute to look at the numbers you have available. You can just simply go into the UI and then just have a drop-down box of all the numbers. And I think what we'll end up doing is that right now, FlowRoute is the only one that's supported, but I think when we add other carriers, we'll maybe have the carrier name or something next to it or something, so you'll know that what carrier that number is coming from. Haven't thought through that all the way just yet, but that's kind of the crux. So for example, if I go back over to FlowRoute and if I just say, hey, let me take out unassigned, clear the alias for this for one number. Yep, clear the name. So now I have two numbers that doesn't have a number. And I go back over to dSIP, share this, and I just kind of refresh this screen here, and I go add, and I do a drop down. Now it's two numbers. So this is to demonstrate that, long as there's no alias inside of FlowRoute for a number, we're going to denote it as being available for use. Likewise, through the parameters here, we may have another box that says show me numbers that's available for purchase, and you can search for those. I don't know yet. We're working through it, but that's kind of the first phase of what we're doing here. And the whole goal again is just to make it easier and make it more streamlined when you're setting up new customers. So I don't know, Tyler, I know this is you. I think you you built the flow route integration, but like, you just haven't probably seen it in this context in a while. I don't know. Any thoughts there for you?
Yeah, so we built this a while back. I got a lot of opinions on this, but there is actually some of these features already built in. So when we built this, we built it as like a combo box. You can already search those things. So if you have certain DIDs that are already pulled in from, if you have 10,000 DIDs, you can search through all of them just by starting to type in a DID. So a pretty cool feature that's already built into there. I think the reason why for everybody else, the reason why we're separating this into its own like little piece, the numbers API and the numbers module, is because one, it's still very easy to tie it into our inbound routing infrastructure or inbound routing module. And two, like I said at the start, we're going to want to start tying these to customers in your KYC process. So it makes it easier to have it as a separate portion. These are your DIDs. These are all mapped to different customers. And then further down the line, you're going to be able to map that DID to customer to CDR to billing. So just a little bit of insight into why it's a separate component, why it's going to be a little bit separate there.
No, that's good. I like that. Thank you for that clarity. Keep going. I'm sorry.
Yeah. That's some of the kind of the building blocks that we've, where we came from, where we're going to. We have talked about this quite a few times on like carrier integrations and a little bit of contention there. So whenever we build a carrier integration, it's making it a lot easier for us to use it, but also like everybody that uses the dSIPRouter product, it's also driving revenue for that carrier, and they're not giving anything back to us. So like FlowRoute, we've been tightly integrated with them in our platforms, and we've been using them, but all these other carriers, it takes us time to develop all these integrations and development hours and cost. So this is going to be points where we're going to be reaching out, and we're going to need the carriers to kind of come back and integrate with us or help with the development effort or help fund, because these are like things that, it's going to take time for each integration. Doing the bare minimum is, not really what we're trying to go for here. We want you guys to get a full featured experience. And I think that's what these carriers want too. That's what everybody wants, is that you go to your platform and you get all these, the great user experience. So with FlowRoute, there's a lot of other features there. There's domain specific, there's multi-tenancy, you got your separate domains, you got point of presence. There's a lot of extra features there that we could, keep on iterating on and integrating in. So I do want to get your thoughts on that, Mac. How we're going to kind of push this. What are your thoughts on how we're going to push the carrier integrations, forward?
Well, yeah, I think you mean like how we're going to get the carriers on board with this, you mean, or is that what you mean? Or just in general, like, what do you mean by pushing the carrier stuff forward?
Yeah, so I think it makes sense for us, and for, people that are using dSIPRouter that want to contribute back, to put in their own development effort into, hey, we use this carrier, we want them integrated. We give them the platform, they one more integration, one more module. But for us to go to all the carriers and do that work for them, that's a lot of development effort. So what are your thoughts on like that moving forward?
Yeah, I think we'll make definitely the plugin API available so people can add in their carrier, the carrier that they love. We will support some carriers out of the box. Like as we build relationships with different carriers, we will have different carriers available, like kind of some default carriers. But we're gonna go to the carriers and say, hey, will this make your life easier to onboard new customers? And maybe some of these carriers will own the plugin, very much like in a HashiCorp Terraform world, is where HashiCorp provides some providers out of the box, and then there's some providers that are created by the company themselves, and they maintain them. So we'll see what the appetite is for carriers to do it, but I don't know. I think that is an opportunity for us to build a tighter relationship with some of the carriers.
Yeah, I think it's going to take some effort there. I do want to hear from the community though. People are using dSIPRouter. What your own experiences are? You know, which carriers you are already buying your numbers from, and you know which integrations you would want to focus on. I think we'll put out a poll in the community Slack channel as well, and just see what our distribution is there.
I think that makes sense. I think that is probably the way to go, and just trying to figure out what they want. In my head, I think the carriers we hear the most about is bandwidth and I think bandwidth is probably the one I hear the most out of, and then voice innovations, which is now owned by Sangoma. Like I'm just trying, and I don't hear a lot of Twilio, you know. Maybe a lot of Cinch, maybe Lumen. So I don't know. We'll go and do some of that work and just figure out which ones are there. But I think, you know, if you are starting out, you probably have one carrier. But for those who are like, you know, been in the business for a long time, they probably have multiple carriers. So I think the larger VoIP providers are probably going to be the ones that the larger VoIP interconnected providers are the ones that are going to probably see the most value out of this probably.
Yeah, I think the CLECs are going to definitely be using this feature a lot.
Yeah, so I think that's going to be the thing. But no, this is kind of what I wanted to kind of chat about for this, you know, dSIP router weekly. I think this is, I think as we go through and talk about like the next release of dSIP, I think having these conversations. But I think next week, like when we talk again, hopefully it's next week, and we don't get bogged down by something else. I think going through Fusion again, I think we're going to create a video. Like we have a video for Fusion, but I think we need to update it because Fusion has made some changes. So I think we need to kind of redo that video, and then probably come back and give people a highlight of how Fusion has kind of changed, how it works, and then point them to this new updated video. And that way people can configure their Fusion box properly.
Yeah. I'm taking on the Fusion PBX and the free PBX with the new PJ SIPA. So we'll get those out hopefully this week, if not by next Monday. But we'll get those out to you guys, and we'll make sure to post it in the community Slack channel. Again, community Slack channel in the show notes every stream. So don't forget to join us over there. We put out hot fixes. We put out most up-to-date live dSIPRouter happenings, and there's other community members there. Maybe somebody else has your issue if you're looking for help.
Absolutely.
That's my little sale pitch there.
That's your advertisement. That's your advertisement. Yep. I love it. Yeah, for sure. So no, this has been great. We wanted to keep it short and sweet. So I think that's it. Unless Tyler, you have something else.
No, I think I'm good. Look forward to a few new videos coming out throughout the week, everybody.
All right. Take care, folks. All right. Bye.
See ya.